Here I have a standard freezer room. I don't have all the specs with me right now. What I'll do is I'll add it into the description. Clients complaining that the freezer room is starting to thaw out and it's sitting at 0 degrees Celsius. First thing is I've noticed there's a lot of ice buildup on the compressor. Before I start tinkering around, what I want to do is I want to de-ice this, and then I'll work on the actual root cause, what could have caused this. You could assume this is too much gas, but we're not quite sure right now, so we're just going to go ahead and de-ice this the compressor. This is looking really, really bad. Here I am inside the actual cold room. I've taken the side panel off and we can see there's just ice buildup everywhere, including the TXV valve, which is over here. So we need to de-ice this. As I said before I start messing around with components, I'm going to first de-ice to see what could have been the cause. It could be a timer, defrost issue, but let's get this ice out of here. So as I mentioned, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just de-ice everything. I'm going to start with the compressor side. Let me de-ice this guy, and before I start putting water on that, I'm just going to isolate the actual unit, and just to make sure that I don't get any water on the electrical terminals. To de-ice this, you can use a hose pipe, but it's not as safe because you've got electrical points all over the place. What I use is just use one of these garden pumps. Fill it up with warm water, nothing too hot. Too hot you might damage the actual seals. And this guy you just pump and spray. So I'm going to go ahead and use this pump to de-ice that compressor. And I'm going to go ahead and just start defrosting the actual unit. Just going to make sure I don't get too much water, because like I said, you've got electrical terminals, so I'm going to try and get as little as water as possible. You don't want to get too much water now, although it'll dry, but I just don't want to waste too much time waiting for things to dry. I'm just going to defrost this in chunks and sort of cut lines into it, and it just becomes easier to pull off. See how easy that is? Same on this side. This is really bad. When you're doing this, just make sure that all the power is isolated. It's always handy to have a isolator close by, that way I know that someone's not going to turn on the unit accidentally. Give this a little bit more. There's no point in me diagnosing right now. I want to first just get this ice cleared out and we can start again to do the actual diagnosis. So this side, if you notice, here's my actual control box. They don't normally seal very well, so I just want to try and be careful as to how much water I'm going to get in that box. Rather just spray away from it. So there I've defrosted all the ice off the compressor. What I want to do now, I'm just going to take off this cover. Difficult with one hand, but the reason why I want to do this is because I've been spraying and I'm definitely going to have wet terminals. There we go. So while I'm working, I'm going to give this time to dry. I'll probably get the blower in here just to blow out all this water. While I'm at it, I'm going to give this condenser a bit of a service. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blow it out, get all this junk out. We've had a very windy August, so we got a lot of dust that needs to come out of here. So I'm back at the evaporator. Although I isolated outside, I'm just going to disconnect these fans because there's a good chance I'm going to be working inside these units. There is ice behind, so I want to get rid of that ice, otherwise it can build up and start getting caught in the fans. So having just a quick inspection, just going to take this panel off too. Yeah, we just completely ice it up. To me, what it looks like is that if I have a look at here, these are my heating elements. Good chance it could be the timer that didn't engage, or the heating elements could be faulty. Nice to see clients supporting clients. Cool Runnings is another good client of mine. I've got a couple of videos on the ice machines that we service. So I'm going to go ahead and start de-icing this. I'm going to start with the TXV side. This you just got to be very careful because you've got thin pipes over here. So I'm going to demonstrate how to just cut little layers of ice just to protect these pipes. And I usually just cut little blocks. Got to be a little bit patient with this. As I said, I use a little bit of water because I don't want to spray water everywhere. Also, I'm not too sure if this drain is actually working. I'm not going to take the bottom cover off just yet, unless I really have to. So there, the TXV valve is exposed. Now I know where to be careful. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut bigger chunks out of this ice and watch how it falls, that it doesn't damage my sensing bulb. Just got to be a little bit patient. As I say, I don't want to have unnecessary water on the floor, because that's just going to make ice and somebody could slip on it. You can mop it up, but by the time I get there it's probably frozen up anyways. So this bark is almost free. It's just wrapped around the pipes at the back, so I'm just going to give it a good squirt at the back and it'll free itself. Just freed up by the TXV valve. Go. Just cut this guy here. That's a good chunk. Yeah, she's pretty stubborn. No, this one's still stubborn. I'm gonna have to try and get from this side. It's relatively thick here, so I'm just gonna have to do this off camera. So this one is pretty stubborn, so I'm just gonna separate it, and there it starts falling. Again, you just want to watch where it falls. It doesn't fall on your actual sensing bulb. You get your attack angles right, it just becomes quicker to remove all this ice. Most important, what I want to do is, I see the TXV valve, the TXV sensor is also iced up, so I'm just going to defrost that too. Otherwise we're going to get false readings. So as I mentioned, there was ice built up around the TXV sensing bulb. So what I did is I defrosted it. Also, what I want to do before I wrap it up, I want to dry it, because this is just going to freeze up as the unit gets cold, and then just give me false readings on the actual sensing unit. What I want to do is, I see there's a cable tie. I'm going to go ahead and put a proper strap. Cable tie, you can use it, but I prefer using the actual clamp. It comes with the sensing bulb, because it just gives better conductance. And this was in that position, which shouldn't be that. It should be around about 5 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and move that down there, strap it up, dry up this area, and then just seal it up again. This side's going to be a little bit difficult because I'm limited for space here, but just to show you, here are the heating elements And behind this bulk of ice is the Kixon. So we want to start freeing up all our components. Make sure your power is off. I'm going to start with the Kixon. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm not going to spend too much time defrosting everything because I'm going to turn on my heating elements. All that I want to do is make sure that large chunks of ice won't fall on the components, damaging it as it melts. That's why I'd rather make sure that the TXV side is completely de-iced, because something could fall and damage the TXV sensing bulb. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and turn on the defrost elements to try and help speed up the process to melt all that ice buildup inside there. So for this video, what I want to do is I want to take this evaporator fan off, and it's just simply removing these bolts to take the whole unit off so I can have a look inside, and also just to demonstrate how the defrost cycle works. Taking the fan unit off, if you look inside, it's completely snowed up. This won't take too long to defrost. It's pretty soft, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the defrosters. Just looking at the bottom here, I'm just interested to see if my drain is clear, so that whatever water comes off this evaporator is going to go straight out my drain and not on the floor. Here I have turned on the defrost heaters, and you can see it's starting to melt, so this is going to help me speed up the process. We don't want to spend too much time on a cold room, especially in the downtime, because we're going to start getting product thawing out. This could melt up in the next say 15-20 minutes. It's been 20 minutes, so you can see we've got most of the ice off. These little bits I'm just going to spray. I'm not going to rely on the heaters just to try to speed things up. This fan seems to be cleared out. I'm just going to inspect the back area. Yeah, we're good. We can pretty much, those little last bits I'm just going to spray off with water. As suspected, it was the defrost timer that was faulty. I'm going to demonstrate how to fault find that on the whiteboard at the workshop. But while I'm on the field, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this condenser. And to do that, I know that the wind direction is going towards the compressor, so I'm going to blow from this side outwards to release any debris that's stuck on that side. Before I start using the leaf blower, I'm going to take a normal screwdriver and I'm just going to jam my blades, because I don't want them to spin while I got high pressure wind coming from the leaf blower. To give this area a good clean out, because we don't want too many leaves which can cause problems later. So with everything set up, my fans are locked in place. I'm just going to give this a good blowout with the leaf blower. That's looking a lot better, and we've gotten rid of all the leaves, dust, and I managed to blow this out, just make sure there's no moisture inside, and we can start wrapping this side up. So I've closed off the compressor connection. I've had a look around to just make sure that your pipes are not vibrating or rubbing up against each other. And very important is just remember to take out your screwdriver. What I always like to do before starting up is just spin the blade with my screwdriver. This one is a bit difficult access, but I know that I've taken my screwdriver out. Have a look at all the pipes. All good, nothing's going to vibrate or work itself loose. So just to recap, if you remember, I took this insulation off to melt all that ice out, and what I've done is I've sealed it up again and just made sure that the TXV valve or the TXV bulb is secured. Next, what I want to do, I'm just going to do everything in the reverse, replace my fan, give this a good wipe down and get ready to start it up. So last minute check, everything's closed up, everything's wrapped up nice and tight, plugs are secure, fans are not vibrating, and we're looking good. That's missing, I got one here. You want to try and secure these covers because they can rattle and can be quite annoying. And that's that. We're good. Drains are all secured, nothing's going to leak, and we can go start up. I'm just going to probably give this a good wipe down just to give a good handover to the client. So last minute inspection, we made sure our fans are clear, and I always like to do one last check, and now we can go ahead and start it up. What I'm going to look for, I'm just going to look for weird noises and just make sure the compressor starts up correctly. A little bit of vibration, so that's coming from those brackets underneath there, so I'm probably going to give those a good tighten up. Listening to the compressor, sounds healthy, there's no knocking, there's no humming, and yeah, everything's fine. I'm going to go and have a look at the evaporator now. Here we're in the cold room, fans are running, and I can feel it's getting pretty cold already. It's only been about 5 minutes, and like I said, last minute checks, no weird noises coming from the fans. This one does sound a bit funny, but I think it just needs to be tightened up. Yeah, this fan will have to be replaced at some point. It's okay for today. We just want to get this back up and functional because we don't want stock to thaw too much. I'm going to give this about a day and make a spot visit just to make sure that everything's still functioning, and of course just make sure that the ice hasn't built up again.